Hello, how are you? I hope everyone is staying positive and not being too hard on yourself. So, what I was going to talk about briefly today is since I talked about, like a new world order yesterday in one of my video about the pyramids and whatnot, I would just briefly talk about why a paradise earth where everyone was perfect really doesn't make sense. Um, to get started, let me just define simply what I meant by like a new world order and what others who think about it probably mean. It would be like an authoritarian one world government which replaces sovereign nations and states. Um, and basically, this government would favor absolute obedience to authority instead of individual freedom, basically. So, with that in mind, when you think about Jehovah's Witnesses and their doctrines about this one government essentially on the earth that would rule for eternity, they say that, humans would be perfect at a certain point. Number one, the problem with saying that humans would be perfect is perfection is relative. What one person or even God views as perfect is different to another person. So, for instance, Mother God's view of perfection is essentially living life with freedom to be who you were meant to be. As long as, like I said, that one rule of love should govern everything. Father, Father's view of perfection is total obedience to whatever he feels is perfect. So, with that in mind, Father's view, which we know now, Father, God is actually Satan, the devil. They are one and the same. So, what the witnesses, their teaching is, and they still teach this to this day, is obey, obey, obey. Be willing to die for your faith, even if it's not logical. Do you think they are preparing their followers for something? I mean, really, when you have to constantly beat into their minds that they need to obey no matter what, that does not seem like you, even in the paradise, will have this very nice life because it will be based on obedience, no matter if that is good for you or not. So think about it. I already talked about sexual desire being a natural inclination of the human. It was built into us. It's actually a form of worship to the true God, Mother. So there's that. There's homosexuality, which I will get into in another video. Homosexuality is not wrong. It was just made that way because of Father, but there is a reason why homosexuality exists. It has to do with the inner being. It is not something they choose to be, just like you or me would choose to be a heterosexual. It's like that. So when they say that these things, you'll be perfect and these things will be done away with, it's an absolute lie because you cannot ignore things that we were naturally made to have within us. So you would have to have rules and punishments, even in a perfect state in a paradise world. So truly, it wouldn't even be a paradise. The same things would exist, except there wouldn't be rules from an other source to actually protect those who need protecting. They would be essentially outcast. And because one person or God would make the rules, that would be detrimental to a lot of people. So just keeping these things in mind, I mean, that whole concept does not make sense, but they keep teaching it and then coming up with excuses like, oh, well, if you don't learn to not be gay, then you'll be destroyed at the end of the 1,000 years and that'll be it. But you can destroy all the adulterers, all the fornicators, all the homosexuals, and anyone else who, in your view, is not perfect. But after that 1,000 years, the same thing's going to happen again because that is in our DNA. It was how Mother God created humans. It cannot be changed. So that's what I wanted to say is that this whole new world order, this perfection, this paradise earth under one government does not make sense. And it is not kind from a truly loving God's perspective. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that bit. I hope everyone has a good day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.